drug abuse, cancer,
measles, diabetes, AIDS, cancer,
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 drug abuse, cancer,
measles.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our very first Doctrine Call for 2023, a live one. And of course, we have to apologize. We did not start the way we would have liked to. We had some technical difficulties. We somewhere along the line, our lines were giving some problems, and we do apologize for that. Yeah, but nevertheless, we're here. And of course, as always, we are going to try to bring you information that can help. Yeah, it is a pleasure for me to welcome back Dr. Sonia Nixon. Doc, good evening and welcome back.
Happy New Year, everyone. This is gonna be a good year. Okay.
I agree.
This is gonna be a good year because we're going back to basics, and all the crazies that happened in the last 3 years. We're gonna look at how to make sure that we feel good about ourselves, that we go back to be taking care of ourselves, because we talk so much about disease, we forget that there are ways we can feel good otherwise. Practical basic things we used to do that didn't include the doctor yet, or even going to the health center. Not that we're not going to talk about that, but we want to just go back to basic. When you're going to primary school, right? Since I went to primary school after you, Godfrey, did you have a thing that said A is for air that we breathe every day, B is for bath,
Yes,
C is for...
yes.
I've been looking for that poem online and I can't find it.
Well,
I guess...
I doubt you'd find that online. That's probably a Grenada thing,
Maybe, but there's all that too. But it was really it was very instructional as the things we should do, the things of basic hygiene that we do just to keep ourselves well and looking good and presentable and all the rest of it. And when you transgress one of those things, it shows up because you kind of look different from the rest of people that you know.
Yes,
So
yes, indeed.
let's see if we can look through some of the stuff and just remind our friends out there that that we can do simple things to make us feel better about ourselves and to make us be better, to make us be not sick.
Oh, definitely. I mean, and you know, Doc, the simple things. This is where we need to start. You know, I was listening to this very wealthy guy, apparently the wealthiest guy in the world, the fellow who owns Amazon, and he was saying, yeah, that big things start small. So the small things, and it applies in almost every aspect of life. The small things as it relates to our health. The small things, if we don't start with them, you might be surprised. Definitely so. But Doc, it's really good to have you back. I trust you had a good Christmas, and you know the new year.
I was about to ask you what you eat for Christmas.
I ate well. I stuck to my veggies, and you know.
You grow them?
Yeah. No. I supported our hard-working farmers.
It's funny because most of the stuff I ate for Christmas came from our family's agricultural practices. The peas that my mother grew, and I think she bought some cauliflower. But the string beans and her okras and stuff that she just steamed. It was very simple Christmas. The chicken that she grew, the pork that my nephew grew, that Grenada pork that has no fat. Serious. It was skin and meat, and it's soft. So I felt very proud of my family, knowing that there's a certain level of self-sufficiency. And that's one of the things I want us to consider this year, because we kind of owe it to ourselves to live well. Our financial state is not going to improve significantly. It might get a little better, but we're not going to be wealthy. We're not going to have oil and uranium and stuff that's happening, you know. And there's a war going on out there that's preventing us from getting a lot of stuff, like getting feed for animals and stuff. So we have to be very cautious as to how we live and to really use our monies that we have or don't have very cautiously to ensure that they stretch across.
Manage your resources, yes, indeed.
So we need to figure out how can we do it within the context of Grenada. We have farmers, we need to support them. Who have land need to plant. You know,
Indeed.
We need to not import a lot of the stuff that we import, or if they're here already, don't buy them so the providers will know that we really don't need that. All the sugar sweetened beverages, I tell you, I see they have all this juices on the shelves coming from a country that don't have no fruit tree. I don't understand how we do it. So it's just, you know, sugar and flavoring and all the rest of it. That's really not good for us anyway. Plus all the preservatives, the salt that go in there, and the things that we can identify or can't we can't say them. The words that we can't. How do you say that? When you can't say a word.
You can't pronounce it.
We can't pronounce that big word.
Right, right, yeah.
I hope that the other thing I want to ask all people out there, everybody who joins us and their friend, everybody and their brother, people listen, and I meet a lot of people in the street, and I want to thank everybody who I met in the street who wish me Happy Christmas and Happy New Year and tell me how much they love our program. Thank you. Keep listening, because this program is meant to make them more powerful, one. But I'm asking everybody, every time you listen to a program, write down 1 or 2 points that you can apply to your life, okay? Because it must be stuff that you can apply to your life to make your life better. This is not about telling Nancy stories. This is give you information so you can put it into what you do daily. So when we talk about eating fresh fruit, don't take the fig and leave it to ripe to feed a pig. You eat a ripe fig, or boil a fig, and cook it. You know, don't talk about, oh, you know, doctors say we're not supposed to eat pasta, but then you go and buy that thing there that I call pasta. For me, it's a thing there. We eat far too much pasta. It's just flour, and it's not good for us. So I want people to start to apply. Take one thing every time, because we want you to be in control of your well-being, of your life in general. So that's what it's about.
Right, indeed, folks. So Doc, aside from all of that, there are other simple things that we need to do as it relates to probably our own personal hygiene, and maybe we can start there. It's a new year. And we can start there and remind our folks that your health is not just what you eat or what you drink, but there are a lot of other areas that you need to pay attention to. And if
to
you
take
don't,
charge.
yes, if you don't,
This is 2023 is our take charge year. And we're going to look at all aspects of our life that enhances or that disenhances how we live. We're taking charge. And it starts with simple things. We talked about the ABC of hygiene. So let's talk about that.
You know, today I was just going through some stuff and reading, and I came across something very interesting, and I just want to share it with you folks. And it starts by saying, "Mom was right. Good personal hygiene is essential to promoting good health. Personal hygiene habits such as washing your hands and brushing and flossing your teeth will help keep bacteria, viruses, and illness at bay. And there are mental as well as physical benefits. Practicing good body hygiene helps you feel good about yourself, which is important for your mental health." And of course, that is noted by Donald Novi, medical doctor. An integrative medicine physician. He's an integrative medicine physician with the Advocate Medical Group in Park Ridge, Illinois. He says people who have poor hygiene, disheveled hair and clothes, body odor, bad breath, missing teeth, and the like, often are seen as unhealthy and may face discrimination. And we know what discrimination can do, Doc. So I would leave it to you to take it from there.
So I'm glad you brought it up, because I think it's about how you feel about yourself if you take care of yourself. And the discrimination we've seen, and sometimes the insult and bad treatment that people get if the personal hygiene is not up to par. So, and this is not just for us. This is information I want us to share with our families and our friends. Talk about it. Don't be afraid to talk about the things, right? Don't be afraid to talk when you sit down. Instead of talking about, me on TikTok. You can do TikTok now, but even on TikTok you can get good advice. But talking about just the gossip and what come out, what they put on YouTube or they don't put on YouTube, and things that actually affect our mental health and our sense of well-being. Those are not the things we're going to talk about, unless you're going to come and say, guys, how do we deal with the bad air in the office? The fact that we don't have air conditioning or there's not proper air circulation. Who can we speak to? How can we get management to understand that we need to have fresh air? So let's start with air. Is your house properly ventilated? I noticed recently we have been building homes, right? We've been building homes that have some little cubby windows. You know what I mean? Barely have window and a whole lot of concrete. This is the tropics and the climate is changing. So it means that a lot of us who have those kind of houses, in order to be able to live in them, because that concrete love the heat, okay, especially when the last sun just shines out in the evening. So there's not proper ventilation in our homes, and we need to have proper ventilation. Once, you could breathe fresh air when you go to bed, when you're sleeping in the night. Two, so that you can, your house doesn't get mold and,
That's right.
And horrible odors. A lot of the things we smell, bacteria, if your house doesn't have proper ventilation, bacteria will grow in there because there's bacteria circulating in the air. Mold or yeast and stuff will grow in there. The moisture will stay and spoil your clothing, spoil your furniture, spoil your whatever, enhance your, cause your children to have the asthmatic attacks come on, right? Insects and mites and other things will proliferate. They'll grow, they'll multiply in there because we create an environment for them, right? We need to go back to building where, your grandmother's house window could have either the shaft window go up or you open wide,
Yes.
and everything, all the air comes in. And we can, yes, we have to consider safety features, but we can do that in a very practical way, make sure that we have safety while we have air, right? In home, in the workplace, it's important that we always breathe in fresh air. Another aspect of of the environment. It's the fact that you can't have yourself or your children, breathing in particle dust. So, like I say, if you can see if you can see the air, something is inside there, because air is supposed to be transparent, right? Whether it's dust falling from Sahara dust coming down the sky, whether somebody burning coals, whether a coal pot light, whether a stove not working good, whether the person muffler in the car not working good. We deserve to have good quality of air to breathe every day, okay? To prevent disease, to prevent the onset of diseases that we've never had, to ensure that we don't have other environmental toxins coming. We must be breathing clean air. So that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaning our homes. Do you clean your house? Do you go into every nook and cranny, or do you have a lot of papers and stuff stuck up that causes roaches? And remember, roaches will trigger off asthma in your children.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Right? So are we cleaning our homes properly? Guess what? Bleaching water, clean out everything. Or just put a little bit of disinfectant in the water, wipe your walls, wipe your furniture, wipe your stove, clean the kitchen. Make sure that everywhere around you is spick and span. And we understand that people go to work and they have stuff, but people used to go to work long before we didn't have so much convenience. Right? People are going to work, mother, father, everybody going to work in the morning, leave early. We don't have cars, we have to leave home earlier to take the bus. Right? So we have to focus on the environment in which we live. Am I keeping my yard clean? Do I have bush growing everywhere that enhances the proliferation of mosquitoes? Mm-hmm. Right? Those are hygiene practices that we need to keep.
And rodents as well.
And rodents. So am I keeping my surroundings clean? Am I covering the water? There's been a lot of water recently. Have I opened my drains? Am I cleaning out the bush that end up growing up in the drains? What am I doing so that my environment is kept a little in balance? And I know it's difficult because a lot of rain. I get up in the morning and rain will fall 5 times before I leave to go to work.
We have been getting some. Yes, we have been getting some.
A lot of rain fell this morning where I live. A lot of rain fell this morning from like 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. It just rained and rained and rained and rained till 8, almost 9 o'clock in the morning. So I know there's a lot of water. But how are we going to prevent ourselves from, especially mosquito or all vector-borne diseases, whether we get lepto from the rat, Zika, which still exists, chikungunya. I heard somebody talk about malaria. We haven't really had malaria around, but dengue.
And
there's a lot of dengue. Okay, and the more you get dengue, the more you are likely to get the fatal form of dengue, which is hemorrhagic dengue, bleeding dengue. Mm-hmm. So you get bite, you get sick, and next thing you know, you have blotches all over in your eyes, wherever, and you're likely to die by then, because by the time that happens, by the time you recognize that, it's almost impossible to save it. Mm-hmm. So keeping our environment clean. And when we talk about water, drinking clean water. There's access to clean water all over Grenada, right? And if you're worried about your water, there are formulae for making sure that the water you can sterilize it. Well, a couple drops of bleach, Sometimes when rain falls a lot and heavily, when the rain comes on heavily, we have challenges with particles in the water. Mm-hmm. Right? But if rain falling, why we should have problem to get water? Rain falling to get clean rainwater. And so much rain has been falling, we can get fresh, good, clean rainwater. I don't know if you grew up, if that's what you drank when you were a child. That's what I drank, because all of that was getting water from the river, which I couldn't stand, because it have all those, all the solutes, the thing from the rocks and stuff. Hated it. It was very heavy. So, are you going to make sure that you don't put dirty things into the water so our children don't get diarrheal diseases? No running belly. They call it diarrhea, running belly, whatever you call it. Right. So those are the things.
And there's also gastro.
Now we have gastroenteritis, and adults get it too. So, are we going to store our foods properly? Almost everybody on this island lives in an electrified home. There is electricity, have a stove, right? If you have a fridge, if you cannot store, you cook enough for the meal that you're going to partake, because you can't put away. Unless you cook in pepper pot today, leave on a cold pot, and every day you add something and you eat a little more. But that's not our tradition. But what if you can't Sometimes you can serve something overnight, but you have to cook it, heat it back fully in the morning because it's warm. We live in humid conditions, and bacteria and stuff will grow quickly. Germs will grow quickly on our food and cause us to have loose belly. Okay? Again, we have water. We're supposed to have pipe-borne water for most people. Are you washing your hands after you use the bathroom?
Mm-hmm.
That's very, very important. Are you washing your hands before you feed your children? Are you washing the dishes properly so that stale food doesn't remain and give bacteria to grow? Are you using the water to take a proper bath?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has access to water in one place or the other. We're a small place with a relatively good distribution of those basic amenities, right? Even if you have to bathe in a bucket, like we used to do when we never had showers,
mm-hmm.
right? Are we bathing? You must bathe every day, at least once, and preferably twice. It's very hot. We need to shower. We need to wash our hair. We need to ensure that our nose or ears are clean. Our fingernails are clean. Your toenails are clean. You need to scrub up the curl off your heel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
In fact, as I read earlier, Dr. Noe was also saying about that your body is constantly shedding skin. And if you don't bathe regularly, because this skin needs to come off, and if it doesn't, then it can cake up and it can cause illness. So if you
because bacteria and yeast and stuff will, because our environment does not allow us to not bathe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And of course, you need to clean properly and use the shampoo and the body wash, and so that you clean, so that these things don't remain on you and create problems for you. Doc, I lost you there for a moment. I'm not sure if you're... Okay, we seem to have... I think your microphone went off. I think your microphone is off. You need to, is muted. So you need to unmute. Right. So folks, we just had a little problem there. I think Doc, you need to unmute your microphone. Your mic is muted. It's still muted, so you need to unmute. And we should be back on track. In the meantime, I just want to say good night to our friends joining us on our Facebook page and our YouTube platform. Of course, it's always good to have you, and you can also share the program. Yes, you can definitely share the program, so other individuals can be part of it, and of course benefit from the information that has been shared as well. So hopefully, so tell you what, we'll take a short break, and we're going to come back in just a moment so that we can have that little technical glitch rectified. So stay with us, don't go away, we'll be back in a moment.
Drug abuse, cancer.
Here is a little known fact. There is only one place in Grenada that you can get an MRI scan done. That place is Spicile Imaging Center. Yes, Grenada, that's the truth. Other centers could offer you other scans, but Spicile Imaging provides an authentic MRI scan. Here's another little known fact. Spicile Imaging has 3 centers. We operate at Grenville, the Carnage, and at the Ocean House, Grand Banks. We provide the widest range of laboratory tests and services: CT scans, x-rays, mammograms, ultrasounds, and a host of other services. We are fully staffed by a team of family doctors and specialists. Call us today at 444-7679 or 440-1500, or visit any of our 3 locations. Spice Cell Imaging, from seeing the doctor to getting lab tests, scans, and pharmacy services. We are here to take care of you.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Your life is yours, your future's in your hands. Your body is yours, that's why you need a plan. You gotta plan your family, avoid HIV, get the education from the Grenada Planned Parenthood Association.
We offer STI screening, gender-based violence counseling, prenatal and postnatal checks, injectables, condoms, pap smears, and other sexual reproductive services. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Pointu Street, St. George's. Whether male or female, it doesn't matter. We're here to make your life better.
Grenada Planned Parenthood Association.
For appointments, call 440-3341.
A GPPA clinic may be in a health facility in your area. Information can be found via Facebook at the Grenada Planned Parenthood Association. Clinics are in partnership with the Ministry of Health and GrandChap. This ad is sponsored by Canada Fund for Local Initiatives.
If there was ever a time to keep and stay healthy, it's now. We at Hills and Valley are here to help you take deliberate steps to maintain your health. We stayed true to maintaining the most comprehensive rates while stocking the widest range of medicines and health devices, including personal protective equipment. There are so many benefits shopping with us. You get great savings through discounts for senior citizens and reward cards for loyal customers. Ask about owning yours today. Visit us at Halifax and Grenville Street, St. George, Jubilee Street opposite the Grenville Bus Terminal, and at Hillsborough, Carriacou. Our wholesale distribution on Halifax Street also stocks the widest range of pharmaceuticals. We are with you on the hills and in the valleys. We are Hills and Valley Pharmacy.
You know, one day I woke up and they painted a set of pedestrian crossing all along the streets. Nobody told us how to use that thing properly.
I know how.
You're serious?
Every safe, good driver knows about these things. As a driver, you have to be very attentive. You know you're coming up close to a pedestrian cross, you start slowing down immediately, looking to see if there's any pedestrian on the side getting ready to cross. If there is, you stop on the line that is a certain distance before the crosswalk. Then you would see the pedestrian put their hands out, looking directly at you, indicating that they are going to cross. And only when you have come to a complete stop, that is when they will quickly and safely cross to the other side. And then you continue happily on your journey.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact, wait for pedestrian to cross. Then you happily continue on your journey.
This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
Drug abuse, cancer,
measles, diabetes, AIDS.
Welcome back, everyone, and again we do apologize for that little technical difficulty we encountered there. We're back and we continue. So we're talking about the importance of good personal hygiene, and as we mentioned from Dr. Novi earlier, he says healthy habits include good grooming. Grooming yourselves. That is very, very important. And we were talking just before we had the difficulty about ensuring that, you people bathe regularly so you can get rid of the dead skin that the body sheds so often. And so Doc, we were there, and then he also went on to speak about trimming your nails and brushing and flossing the teeth regularly.
And visiting your dentist.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Right. So I want to put a point about bathing, because there's another thing that some of us kind of overdo it. We want to bathe 4 and 5 times. There's no need to do that, because what you do is remove the oils that protect your skin and keep you moist and stuff. I could understand if you're working out and you're in the dirt and all the rest of it, but there's really no need to bathe more than twice a day for most of the people. But you should bathe at least once a day. And so bathing has another component. Your physical hygiene has another component. And we talk about just to be well, just so that you look and smell clean. But there's other thing about we can have a responsibility to the people that we are around. And there's no need for you to come into the office with body odor.
That's right.
Or come to school. And the third component is the whole social and acceptability thing. Everybody wants to feel a part of the environment in which they find themselves. So there's being physically presentable. I'm not talking about having nice clothes. I'm talking about just being clean, right? Because there are people you see, there are poor people who have the same 2 set of clothes every day, or 2 shirts for school, and they wash one tonight, and they wear this one today. They wear one today. Right? And whatever they wear today, they're going to wash it tonight. And the other one is already washed from the day before, so they can iron it tonight to go to school tomorrow to go to work. All right? It is important that we show respect for each other by maintaining proper hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just come in and your teeth dirty, your hands smell like all the food that you eat last night, or you smell like alcohol, especially people who go out and party in the night and come in and all the smell of the alcohol on your body, on your breath. Your clothes dirty, grime on your shoulder. It can cause, like you said, discrimination. And unfortunately, people want to live comfortably, right? And people want to be accepted, but you have to do what is important to be accepted. There are people who need help because they have mental illness or other limitations, but we should really take it as a duty of care, as a responsibility to the people and the environment. Think about it. You get on a bus from Sotes, right? And somebody smell like they use tree doves, where all the tree doves dead. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That. What perfume you use? 3 doves. Well, you look like all of them dead, because you can't come with your armpit smelling frowsy. One of the challenges that we have, and I've seen a lot of people with body odor, especially armpit body odor. What do? We live in a very tropical environment, and we wear underclothes. Women wear their bras. Some people wear a slip over. We give our children vests under their uniform. Like some of the high schools insist that you wear a vest. So you might have girls going to and an undershirt for the boys, right? And we hot. It is hot and humid, and rain being falling. It's wet. You need to wash that when you get home. We can't recycle even our work shirts. Some people feel, I'm sitting in air condition, I'm not sweating. Okay, and I get in my air condition. But there is bacteria from your skin that gets into your under your arm, especially like there, because you will sweat normally. You have oily glands in your armpit that produce different stuff, and bacteria grows in those things normally. Because we have normal bacteria on our skin. You need to make sure that you do not recycle clothes. And if you're having body odor, please if there's somebody having body odor, don't be afraid to say, come, I need to tell you this. And if somebody tells you that, tell them thanks and go home and change. Ask if you can leave now. You didn't realize you were offending everybody, right? If you notice people not talking to you in the office, or they don't invite you to anything, it just might be that. If you have a problem, go to your doctor, because sometimes you need to get something to help you. But wash your clothes. Wash your clothes properly. Use cake soap or if you could afford Tide and stuff, and put it in your armpit and wash and rinse your clothes properly. Because those are basic hygiene practices that we all should know. Sometimes nowadays, because of convenience, and that's fine and quite acceptable, we put our clothes into the washing machine. But the armpits and the clutch in our clothes need extra care. You have to pre-wash. You have to put it in soap water, or your grandmother used to use brown soap and then blue soap, right? Simply because you have to soften all what is on the clothing, right? And make sure that when you put it into this washing machine now, it can take off that. It does, because the washing machine is not going to take your armpit and rub it. It just washes everything to the same measure. Okay? So please, ask somebody to teach, and parents have to teach the children this. Parents have to teach their children how to avoid having those embarrassing experiences, because it's not good for the self-esteem at the end of the day. It's not good for whole social development at the end of the day that you walk around and everybody scorns you. I know we see people live on the street, they don't have the alternative. And some of them don't even smell bad, but we still scorn them because they look unacceptable. We have to also make sure that while we have the capacity, that we do not have that problem. Smelling your smelly toes, toe jam. Why doesn't they have toe jam and everyone in water? Wash your socks every day. If you're having problems with your shoe having an odor, try and wear like leather shoes, wear white socks preferably, and change your socks every day. You can't wear one pair of black socks or navy blue socks all week if you have an odor in your foot, right? Wash your foot properly. Dry it properly. Put some baking soda or some powder between your toes in the morning if you had a challenge. On the weekend, you get a little basin or a little container with water, a little bleach, and you take a cloth and you wipe inside of it, and you put it down so that the fungus, because usually fungus causes that stinky, and bacteria will also grow there, so that the sun can kill out all the fungus, you know, the yeast and stuff that grows down in there, right? And some people are more prone because some people sweat in their feet more than others. Yeah. But you have to take added responsibilities. One, cleaning your shoes properly, right? Preferably not wearing the rubbery synthetic shoes because they keep your feet very hot. But if you don't have a choice, you wear cotton socks, right? Old-time Bobby socks, cotton socks, 100% cotton socks, preferably white if you can, right? But you have to change your socks every day and take proper care. Dry between your toes, cut your toenails, scrub off the thing on your heels, and make sure that your feet are always clean. When you get home, you put on flip-flops and you walk up and down, right? So as quickly as possible at the end of your working day, you go and you clean your feet. When you bathe, you have a special little towel to dry your foot. You wash it every weekend, and after you bathe in the morning, you hang out where a little sun come in, right? Because you have a problem. Some people do have a problem, but you want to be acceptable. That is what hygiene is about, being acceptable. Okay, how you present yourself, right, makes people accept you or not, right? Yes, and it's not very hard. It's not very. Yeah,
I want to go back a bit to the whole issue of bathing and so. You know, I have heard, you know, like, and you probably hear it from your grandparents. For example, someone who has, let's say, a body odor, they can use citrus, so the limes or lemons, and you know, you can use that, and it would help. Doc, is it recommended?
You mean an armpit odor?
Yes.
Yes, but I'll tell you what works. First of all, you have to wash your armpit properly, okay? You have to scrub it out if you have a lot of hair in there, cut the hair, because sometimes the grime and stuff stick onto the hair. And we do a quick wash, especially when you're doing cowboy wash in the morning when the water cold, right? And if the water is cold, just make sure you wash those parts that are more perishable and more likely to carry a body odor, right? When you finish, use a wash rag, wash the wash rag, or whatever you use to scrub your body, you have to wash it. Lime, yes, but you know what works? Baking soda.
Baking soda, yes, it does.
Good old baking soda. It also keeps, and then the other antifungal powders that you can put on their arm. And you want to say, oh, but I use deodorant. Yes, you use deodorant, that's okay. But sometimes the deodorant clogs up your pores. so they don't get to extricate all the whatever comes out of your skin. The other thing, if this were a roll-on, right? When you roll the roll-on, it puts some stuff, right?
Yeah.
Some of the deodorant or the antiperspirant. Two different things, but they kind of have the same outcomes, right? So it gets on your skin. But what happens while you're rolling? Doesn't the bacteria get on inside the stuff?
Yes, it does.
So I advise my people, I will tell people, come here, you have a little order, let's work this out. Let me tell you what to do, right? Not to use a roll-on. Because you're just putting it back.
Yeah.
Okay? You're putting all that bacteria back on the ball. You roll it the second time and you put back the bacteria
Yes. Even if Doc, even the sticks, you have the solid ones. And if you look carefully, you would notice after a couple of use, the actual color, because most times they're white, and you would notice that the actual whiteness of that stick fades, and that is because of the constant use. So you need to remove that top of it before you use again, and all of these things we need to.
What can I tell people? Scrape it off, run some hot water on it. Okay, get accustomed. It's funny because sometimes you go for what we call high performing deodorants. You know what works? What works is some of the girly deodorant, and I've seen guys do well with girly. I kid you not, guys with severe body odors. Secret, and this is not an advertisement. Secret and Dove, preferably those that don't have a lot of, or you can use like Arm & Hammer, which is mostly baking soda based, right? But the solid Secret and the solid Dove, no roll-ons if you have body odors, okay, right? You can use a spray because it doesn't have any contact. But if you're going to use something that you want it on your skin, use something like Dove or Secret, because I find that those deodorants, for some reason, especially when males have body odor, tend to work. It's girly, but trust me, it works. Right? If your deodorant still keeps, just throw it, get a new one. Right? Get a new one. Right? So what do we do with body odor? We bathe every day, twice a day, properly. Wash on the armpit, get the soap and rub, dig it out, especially when you go home in the evening. Right? In the morning, you might not have so much work to do, but if you're still smelling, and don't be afraid to smell yourself. Don't be afraid, so you know exactly what your status is. Don't give somebody in the bus the opportunity, because I would hate to be coming from hotels with you and you have that body odor. I don't need that attack on my brain that early in the morning, okay? And you don't need ostracization every day.
Yeah, because, right.
So you bathe every day, use a proper deodorant, right? You shave on the arm, you cut the hair so you don't have nowhere for the gum to stick, right? You do not recycle. You wash your clothes properly, first of all. Your merino and your undershirt, your bra and your vest that you wear, whatever it is you wear and that comes in contact with your arm, you wash it properly. You make sure when you wash your clothes, smell it.
Yeah.
Wash your clothes, smell it. If it smells like that, you get some more soap. You soap it up, you rub it, and you leave it for a while, okay? But when you wash that clothes, smell it. It's good for you and for the people who sit next to you, who work next with you. And of course, do not recycle your clothes either. Your shirt, your top, even your jacket. When you wear a jacket, make sure that there's nothing there, okay? So you have to make sure that everything that comes in contact with your armpit or wherever that odor comes from is properly washed. Soap and water clean off most stains.
Right.
Okay.
What about you mentioned about removal of the hair and the armpits and so. What about the pubic hairs? What do you recommend? Because it's a very sensitive area as well.
So I think that most hair in most parts of your body have a function, okay? You don't need a forest, but it's there to keep like pubic hair is known in the female, for example, to prevent bacteria from getting into the vagina.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but you can keep it in order and make sure you wash.
Right.
Soap and water cleans everything. Wash properly.
Mm-hmm.
Wash. Move skin, move tissue, and wash. As much water as you can get, right? And wash, so that when you finish, there's no odor. You can smell your rag and smell yourself, and make sure you don't carry an odor. Wash behind your ears, clean inside the ears. Do not put any Q-tips into your ear. The only thing that goes into your ear is your elbow. You know that? Put yours. Try your elbow now.
Mine can't go.
So, because what we do, your body does produce wax, but wax is a protective phenomenon.
Yes.
So, if you ever had a cockroach in your ears, you'd wish you had wax. If a cockroach or a mosquito or a little red fly gets into your ear, you'd understand the importance of having wax. Okay? Wax is a normal protectant. Yes, some people produce a little more than others. If you're having challenges, go to somebody who knows how to remove wax. Or you can simply put some drops of olive oil, warm olive oil or glycerine into your ear at night. You lie down, pull the air up, let it go down, put a piece of cotton overnight into either ear. For a week, the wax will come out.
Right.
Okay? Some people do actually produce a lot more wax than others. They need to go see the doctors or the whoever a nurse or preferably a doctor. Who can,
what about the use of hydrogen peroxide in the air to help remove wax?
But you see, sometimes if you have a lot of wax, you need more than one intervention, and you need somebody who knows what they're doing. And as I tell you, the olive oil is innocuous. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't do any harm. Or put in, like I said, some glycerine that's warm and also, and then they have other things over the counter like wax oil and other solutions that you actually can use and put into your ear, right? But wash behind your ear, please. Wash your hair. Wash your hair. Some people wash your hair every day. That is not necessary, okay? Because you still need the oil for the thing. You do not need to wash your hair, but wash your hair often. Get a proper haircut if you're a man. And if you don't want to cut your hair, if you keep locks, you can keep locks and warm growing inside there, and you have things that look like concrete. You need to wash. If you want to have locks, that's fine. I think that people look fabulous in the locks. Right?
You know, I want to ask. Yeah, I want to ask this again, Doc. You know, and sometimes I always wonder about it. You hear about so people come from work, and you hear about this after work lime, and people come from work and they go. I don't understand. Instead of going home, getting a shower, and have yourself clean, you go on lime, and then you go home working hours in the night, and tomorrow you go back to work. I mean, what would you say to something like that?
I think you need to know. It depends on what you go to do at lime. Are you going to go on lime and party and rub with everybody?
Well, after work lime, that's what I hear. You go, you drink, you do whatever.
Yeah, but if you live in Grenville, you don't want to go to work. You don't want to go out to Grenville and come back down on BBC Beach.
But
there are ways to get around it, and I think it's really intended for people to come from work and come there before you go home, so you don't not come back out, right? But I think people need to figure out.
But what about your personal hygiene? I mean, you've been out all day. If you're working,
yeah, but you probably sit in the office. I mean, I think people should know what their state of hygiene is at the end of the day to decide whether they're going to go and mingle and dance up and touch up and hug up and with people who probably have been home and had a shower.
Okay.
And you also need to consider what is your responsibility to the people that you're going to hang out with.
Well, definitely. So let's move on a bit to the mouth, the brushing and the flossing, because that's a very, very important one.
So there has actually been some discussion among the dentists related to whether you floss or not to floss. But I think the general consensus at the end of the day is flossing makes a difference. Because using floss helps you to remove the gunk that go between the teeth, especially for people who have kind of tight teeth.
And to prevent. Yes.
So here's the challenge I have with our health system, because we are one of the countries that have the highest level of, certainly in the Caribbean, we have a very high level of dental caries or rotten teeth. I don't know how you say it, right?
Yeah.
Among our school-age children. In a place where we can afford $2,000 cell phone, and we buy it. In a place where we buy eyelash and long fingernail, right? And all of those stuff. Something as fundamental as toothpaste should be a part of your normal family's toilet. The thing you use to take care of yourself. I also think that we need to start doing dental health care in our children. The Jamaicans, for example, right, have a program. Their dental care program starts from the child has his first 2 eruptions, first 2 teeth that don't have no plaque, no thing, right? You should take your child to the dentist from that age. I call it the goo gaga age, where children don't see anything as bad. Where dentists give them a toothbrush and they might chew on it, but they learn that the toothbrush goes in your mouth. But a little tube, so even for children, they don't say that they shouldn't get a fried toothpaste. But even for children, they might suck out the toothpaste, but you can still rub the tooth, and they get accustomed as routine to know you do this in the morning, you do this in the evening, you wash your mouth after you have sweet drinks and stuff, right? And sweets. So we have to move to a state where our children get early dental care,
yes,
which becomes what we call prophylaxis or preventative, right? And there are people who are trained to make sure, right? They're even trained to remove, bad teeth from children. You might have teeth that impacting on others. You can take it off, right? Those milk teeth.
Yeah.
So there is a program, as far as I know, where parents would be asked to provide a tube of toothpaste and a toothbrush for the children. So teachers encourage them to brush their teeth. But the Jamaicans have no problem with dental cavities in their children. They don't see cavities because their children learn from their 4-6 months to clean their teeth, right? And they go to the dentist every 6 months. This is what I'd like to see instituted here. Before children relate dental care with pain and embarrassment. I'm staying with the children still, because one of the things we do is the milk bottle syndrome, where you have the children walking around and have the milk bottle hanging out of their mouth for hours, or they give them some juice and they play with that. All of that acid stays on the teeth and causes breakdown of the enamel. So we have to get to a point where after a while, a child can get a sippy cup, drink himself and give it in, or get a cup and drink. The Cubans cup and spoon their babies from their 6-month-old. So baby not having no bottle hanging and playing with drop and roll and play, which puts you at risk for hygiene, for gastroenteritis and stuff. You can give a child a cup of drink. You can give them some juice, give them water in a glass. They might spill some, yes, but you don't need them walking around. Because I've seen many a child with rose-gone teeth because they walk around with a bottle and everybody thinks it's cute. It's not cute. Because if you have those dental caries and those broken teeth, bacteria gets into your system and you can get infections in your kidneys and other parts of your body, into your heart. Okay? Plus, with children who have, I'm going to call it disabled teeth, can't chew, but how would they chew their raw carrots? Right? How would they chew their cauliflower when you boil it when you steam it for them? How would they chew the things that are good? How would they enjoy their meat and chew it properly? So even if they eat the meat, they can't chew it properly because they probably have toothache or discomfort, right? I think I'm going to be in trouble with my phone. And they have discomfort. Can you still see me?
Yes, I am. Well, we due for a break shortly, so all
right.
So what we can do? We'll take the break now, and then we'll come back in a moment. So stay with us, folks. When we come back from the break, we'll also entertain your calls. So do stay with us. Yes.
Believe in our strength. We'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. reassurance we give. It's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
If there was ever a time to keep and stay healthy, it's now. We at Hills and Valley are here to help you take deliberate steps to maintain your health. We stayed true to maintaining the most comprehensive rates while stocking the widest range of medicines and health devices, including personal protective equipment. There are so many benefits shopping with us. You get great savings through discounts for senior citizens and reward cards for loyal customers. Ask about owning yours today. Visit us at Halifax and Grenville Street, St. George, Jubilee Street opposite the Grenville Bus Terminal, and at Hillsborough, Carrico. Our wholesale distribution on Halifax Street also stocks the widest range of pharmaceuticals. We are with you on the hills and in the valleys. We are Hills and Valley Pharmacy.
When a loved one passes on, we all need the comfort, support, and guidance of a trusted friend. You can rely on LaCour Brothers Funeral Home. We provide a personalized professional service that exceeds all expectations. Our dedicated staff responds to your every need with the greatest detail, ensuring affordability with a variety of options. Our upgraded state-of-the-art facilities, spacious air-conditioned chapel with live internet streaming, a modern, environmentally safe crematorium, the only of its kind on island, private viewing spaces, large on-site repast center, a modern transportation fleet. Join our burial society today and make personalized arrangements for that final moment. As you prepare to enter your loved one into eternal rest, visit or call LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and select a package that brings added comfort to the entire family. LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and Burial Society, continuing a tradition of excellence.
Rep your colors. Hot 98 presents the 473 Colors Boat Ride. Going on Saturday, February 4. Get your tickets now at godfrey.com for only $65. Food included. Boarding time 7 p.m. The boat sails at 7:30. Music on board by the Hot 98 DJs plus other guest DJs. Baby, calm down, calm down. Rep your colors on the boat, cause this one here is gonna be epic. Lock the date, Saturday, February 4th. Hot 98 473 Colors Boat Ride. Don't you miss this.
Here is a little known fact. There is only one place in Grenada that you can get an MRI scan done. That place is Spicile Imaging Center. Yes, Grenada, that's the truth. Other centers could offer you other scans, but Spicile Imaging provides an authentic MRI scan. Here's another little known fact. Spicile Imaging has 3 centers. We operate at Grenville, the Carnage, and at the Ocean House, Grandlands. We provide the widest range of laboratory tests and services. CT scans, x-rays, mammograms, ultrasounds, and a host of other services. We are fully staffed by a team of family doctors and specialists. Call us today at 444-7679 or 440-1500. or visit any of our 3 locations. Spicile Imaging, from seeing the doctor to getting lab tests, scans, and pharmacy services. We are here to take care of you.
Drug abuse, cancer,
measles, diabetes, AIDS.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Doctor and Call. In case you're just joining us, we're very happy to have you. Our telephone line is open, so clearly you can give us a call if you have any questions that you would like to ask or any comments that you would like to make. Doc, just before we go to the telephone. A quick question. As it relates to one of the things Dr. Novi says, the bacteria that builds up and causes gum disease can go straight to the heart and cause very serious valve problems. You mentioned that just now. I am almost certain that many people were not aware that can actually happen.
Right, because we don't talk a lot about dental care, about dental health, and that's one of the things we are going to have to focus on. But because it does, not only in childhood, but it's going to affect your life throughout. If you don't have proper teeth, you can't eat proper food, right? So you might be nutritionally challenged if you're not eating proper food, right? So it is important. And I mean, you see the little children rose corn teeth, and it really does bother you. They don't feel good about themselves. They smile like this because they're so self-conscious. There's no need for us to have this. You know, I was talking about I wanted to look at some simple things. Simple things that we can do. Simple things. Because that's what it has to be. What are the simple things that I can do? We've spoken about some of them, right? What do we eat in our families? Okay, are we getting enough sleep? Or am I drinking too much coffee or eating too much late at night that I don't get a good night's sleep? Is my bed comfortable? Is there proper ventilation? Is there noise in my community that doesn't allow me to sleep? Okay, those are things that we need to consider. In order for me to be productive today, I have to have repaired during the night before. Okay, so when I go to my bed tonight, I want to get good sleep, right? So I don't have nightmares or I'm not up half of the night. Well, if the roof is leaking, you can't sleep. If your children's sick, there are other things. But all things being normal, can I go and get proper sleep, right? Do I consume too much alcohol? Am I consuming alcohol? So because if you drink too much, you can't sleep enough. The kind of sleep you get is kind of false sleep. It takes you into that deep REM and you wake up and you can't go back to sleep. So alcohol will, in fact. Am I using substances? Am I using harder substances like, cocaine and heroin and all those things, right? Or all the other drugs, all the other boutique drugs that we don't even know about, that our students use to stay awake and all the rest of it, so they don't fall asleep, especially when coming around exam time. Am I using too much cannabis? We had a point where we talking about decriminalization of marijuana. It is not legalization of marijuana. You can't walk around with a 20-foot spliff smoking. That's not what it's about, right?
Well, I think we've gone past decriminalization.
No, I don't think we have finished the laws. But the bottom line is that I don't want people to miss the point, because do you know it is for using, especially for using marijuana for medicinal purposes, okay, and other health purposes that it has. Marijuana has been criminalized over time, and that is what is supposed to be moved. But we have to remember that marijuana still has its negative health effects on a lot of people, especially a young population. We try to make sure that our young people in that last phase of when you get into male adolescence, 13, 14, are not consuming adolescence, because a lot of things goes on in your brains as far as development when you get to 14, 15. How you make decisions, how you respond to stuff, a lot of the cognitive and executive functioning, right, are developed at that age. And it is known that smoking marijuana can actually affect it. And I know that people are saying, the truth is, go ahead and say, that is the truth. We don't know what percentage of our population is affected by that. So we have to make sure that the children are not even inhaling smoke secondarily. We talked about smoke, but we didn't talk about tobacco as a bad thing, because tobacco also kills 50% of the people who use it every year, whether primarily or secondarily. And of course, there's a tertiary part where you smoke so much in the house that all the toxins remain in the wall, on the bed, on the carpet, and people inhale and come in contact with it and develop malignancies. Okay. Those are the simple things, okay? Those are some of the simple things. But the positive simple things like walking, going for a walk, going to church, or where you find that spiritual space, doing meditation, having relationship with whatever it is that you call that you consider that spiritual balance that you're looking at, right? We talked about fresh air, family time, sitting and having discussion, eating dinner together, okay? Eating dinner together, going on the beach, going for a walk, going and visit your granny, whatever you're gonna do, right? Doing household chores together, planting a garden, having a flower garden. Those are things that make us have happy lives. And that is what we're aiming at. And you know, above all, I think one of the things we need to focus on is ensuring that these values that we create, that you know about. I talk about my grandmother, right? Am I going to pass it on to my own grandchildren? We have gotten to a place where we spend so much time on the internet that we don't share those traditional values that used to happen in families before. And we have to get back there. We don't have to go to the archaic things that don't really apply, and there's simpler ways to do it, okay? You don't have to light coal pot. But you might want to cook some oil on, put it outside, put it out where there's breeze. Don't put it inside the house. Don't put it in the kitchen, don't catch it on top of the stove. Because, you know, one grandchild might just want to figure out what's going on and push his hand and get burnt, one thing. But it will create particle dust in the air in your house. So you want to make sure that you don't encourage that. Oh, it's just one day. No, you don't want it any day. All right? So pass on the values, the knowledge we have to our children, but above all, be exemplary. Right? Above all, be exemplary. Right? The whole thing, we talk about it all the time, drinking sugar-sweetened beverages. If you don't make it at home, your children are not going to partake in it. Mm-hmm. If we start teaching our children to drink and smoke early because they're in the house and they smoke, if you smoke tobacco and your child keep inhaling it, he's going to develop an affinity for smoking because it's already there and he wants it. Tobacco is that addictive, right? So we have to, as adults, figure out how we are going to prevent the next generations from partaking in negative behaviors. Okay? That is what we want to do. You know, drinking water, having water. And you can drink water. Everything we could put in water and make it nice enough. Yes. Cinnamon, lemon grass is fabulous in water. You boil it and you put it in the fridge. It's a fabulous drink. Grandmother, I don't know if your grandmother used to do. My grandmother used to drink the source of water for 9 mornings. You did that? Yeah, we a lot of times used to drink source of water. They said it's good for mental health. But for a lot of different reasons too. Mm-hmm. Yes, so, yes, indeed. Mm-hmm. So there's stuff that we want to pass on to our families. We talk about smoking, we talk about water, we talked about a lot of stuff, right? There are new things that we've learned, and we've heard COVID in the distance again, right? It's been talked about. Yeah. There's travel restrictions for the Chinese people. Almost everybody along the West Coast had the BBX, the new. Yep. In fact, Dr. Charles was talking about it tonight. Right. Although it may not be as virulent as Delta, right? Guess what? It's there, and you don't know how it's going to affect you. That's it. That's the important thing. That's the very important point. About it. And I know Dr. Charles has spoken about COVID in the last 10 days. Hear me. COVID is real. Okay? Everybody can take their chances, but I'm going to say, if you think you're vulnerable, and we don't know how vulnerable we are, just go back. In the last 3 years, we've told people everything they need to do to prevent themselves from getting COVID, and even worse, dying from COVID. Mm-hmm. Okay? Wear your mask. Keep out of crowds. I know Carnival coming up soon. I beg all to be careful up there, right? Keep out of large crowds. Get your vaccines. Yes, they still work, right? At least they attenuate the intensity. They make it easier. The intensity with which you get these diseases. Washing your hands, sanitizing. Don't put your hand to your face. Don't put your nose. Don't dig up your nose when you get a little allergy. And of course, going to the doctor early if you have respiratory symptoms. Mm-hmm. COVID is real. And the methods we're asking you to use to prevent COVID are basic hygiene methods. Washing your hand, don't cough in people's face. That's right. Cover your mouth to cough, right? Wash your hands. not putting your hands up into your face, wearing a mask if you think, right? But apart from the physical health, remember your mental health is very, very important. Okay? Sleep is good. Avoiding stress is important, right? If you feel you can't cope, there are companies that have an employee assistance program through which you can go. Other than that, find somebody to talk your problems through. We had whatever amount too many deaths by suicide last year means that people are not coping. They have severe depression and go over the edge. Listen to somebody. And if you need to talk, find somebody. I always listen. So if you want to call, I'm good. People feel they want to die. They think that is the only way out. I'm not going to tell you is the best way or the good way or don't. Let me hear what you have to say. And we have to be compassionate and become each other's keeper to avoid the level of suicide we have. That's something we probably need to address later, because it's something that we don't talk about. There's still laws, right? So people are afraid if the people who die is because they think if they don't succeed on the thing, they will go to jail and the embarrassment. There's no need to kill yourself. There is no. But we who don't have that challenge have to be compassionate and understanding and tell people to stop talking foolishness. It is not foolishness, it's their own living experiences.
But you know, Doc, as a people, even those of us who probably do not have the problem, we need to pay attention. Because I just want to highlight this. Again from Dr. Novi, he says poor hygiene hints at other issues. Earlier you mentioned mental health. And he says, if someone you know hasn't bathed or appears unkempt, it could be a sign that he or she is depressed. When people are sad or depressed, they neglect themselves. So talking about the importance of proper personal hygiene for preventing illnesses and providing personal hygiene items may help some people. Be candid, but be sensitive and understanding in your discussions.
And listen.
And Doc, you mentioned that. So despite your best efforts, your friend or loved one may need professional help. You should encourage them to see a counselor or doctor if their personal hygiene doesn't improve. So, it's important. Sometimes, personal hygiene, as Dr. Novi says, can hint to other things. So, as our brother's keeper, and Doc, this is something that you always speak about. Be our brother's keeper. Look out. Share. I've probably heard you use that word sharing hundreds of times in 2022. So we need to be mindful. Pay attention to those around us. There are things that may appear simple, but it can be, something else in the making. So we need to be mindful.
It might appear simple to you, but they say what is joke for school children is dead for crapple.
That's right. That's right, indeed. So, Doc, we're going to open our telephone lines and, see if we have folks out there who have any questions that they may like to ask or anything that they would like to share with us. Let's go to our telephone and see who's with us. Doctor and call, good evening.
Good evening to both. Sorry.
Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor, and both hosts and guests.
Happy New Year.
Good evening.
Happy New Year. Yes, I go beyond. I ask the Lord to bless you both and so on with life, wisdom, health, and so on, so we can confront whatever may befall us this year. Doctor, we have an issue in this here country today relative to, if I may deviate a bit, sweeteners, the use of sugar and sweeteners and so on. As a topic these days and so on. We are pretty used to sugar, brown sugar, white sugar, whatever, sling, molasses, whatnot and whatnot. And, from the scientific side, oases, fructose, dextrose, what have you. But, Doctor, technology has developed a lot of, quote, sweeteners from certain things. There's one in particular I was recently reading there. It's called aspartame. I'm a bit worried about that. Do you know that product, Doctor? Have you heard it? You ought to have heard it, I suppose.
It's one of the earlier products used as a sugar substitute, as a sweetener.
I'd like you to talk a bit of this aspartame, doctor. I know it is used, particularly in some of these juices that you commented about coming from countries that don't even have fruit. Yes, so we're listening to you. Aspartame. Thank you. Have a nice evening, will you?
Thank you, caller.
All right. So aspartame, and I'm glad this was brought up because what we're saying, remember, I believe you always have to give an option, okay? If you say don't have sugar sweetened beverages, what are you going to give me? There are some natural sweeteners like agave, which comes from the cacti and the stevia, right? But aspartame is known. It has been used widely. It was developed as a chemical compound. Aspartame is known to initiate the appearance of cancers. In other words, what we call a carcinogen, okay? And that's why I ask you to read what you buy. Mm-hmm. We don't have any laws that bans the importation of aspartame into the country, but it is known to be a carcinogen. And I'm glad this caller brought it up because I'm saying don't have it. Guess what? We have enough fruit out there. What we used to do? Eat an orange and drink water. That's juice. Okay? We don't need to be adding sugar because added sugar is our problem. And we know that added sugar. This year we're going to talk a lot about childhood obesity and obesity in general as a risk factor. Every day it's recognized as a bigger risk factor. Obesity being over 35% over your expected weight, right? And we know that sugar, right? Extremes of carbohydrate consumption. Sugar, because we put such large volumes, especially into our drinks, and we give to our children, right? Does contribute towards obesity. I was reading a document today speaking about obesity in preschool children. Preschool children is 0 to 3, no, up to 6, right? And they had an increase in 2018 when they checked. They usually they test them, I think, every 2 years, the children in preschool. They discovered that these children's, the amount of children with obesity in that age had increased from 2% when the last test was done to 3.9%. That's almost 100% increase. So if you had 6 children in your classroom and 2 of them were overweight, next time you have another one. You double up. You understand? 4. Right? Mm-hmm. So I'm saying that this is something we can avoid, but we need to avoid it with caution. What are we substituting? We talk about not having water, not having sugar-sweetened beverages in school, and that's all fair. But a lady outside the gate selling Snow Ice and Pennacool and Coca-Cola and, God, I don't mean to call Coca-Cola name, I'm very sorry. Selling, bottled drinks and fruits and stuff that are equally bad for our children. Right? So when we speak to obesity, we have to speak to the options that a population has, and we have to tell them why the options are just as bad as the villain.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's go back to the telephone. Doctor and call, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening, caller.
Yeah, all right. You're talking about the afterline work.
Yeah, caller, you need to turn the volume of your device down. We're getting a feedback from you.
All right, you're talking about the afterline work.
No, I'm saying you need to turn the volume of your device. If it's your TV or radio,
whatever you're listening on, turn it on. Just listen.
Turn it down and listen to us on your telephone.
Yeah. Okay. You're talking about afterline work and things. It depends on where you walk in. You understand? Because I call you looking there, you're looking clean, you come out there and you could go and make a line. I work in a brass plant, and when I come from work, people are asking if it's not to work, I come out because I don't talk with the same clothes. When I done, I clean up myself. All the time I'm in the clean inside my bag and I'm myself smelling good and looking clean, something like below me and things. So it depends on where you work, you could go after line work,
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. All the best.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We clarify that. It depends on what you do, where you're going, but you can't come out and work and you're frowsy and go into a place where people probably went to one bathe and come back. that's a responsibility we have to each other.
Yeah, indeed. All right, the number is 435-2041. You can give us a call. And of course, you can share with us your thoughts. If you have any questions, you can do so. Let's go back to the telephone. Doctor and call, good evening. Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Doctor and call.
Yes. Some years ago, I saw a fruit juice in a particular supermarket, and the juice came from Israel. I couldn't understand that. There's another thing which I want to ask the doctor. Well, I personally would use a toothbrush for 2 months and then discard the toothbrush. What's your thought on that, Doc? Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So I want to talk about the juice first. The truth is, you're not supposed to import things into the country that the people can't read. People are supposed to be able to read the labels.
Well, clearly he was able to read it because he said it came from Israel.
Yeah, but it's probably written in Hebrew.
Yeah, but if it's written, how would you know it came from Israel?
I have a fruit on the front, and it said made in Israel.
Okay.
So, because you also want to read what is in the juice, whether they have excess of sugar, whether it's pure fruits, you understand? And that's one of the things we've been speaking about, reading your labels. What does it contain? You want to talk about front of package labeling?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, if you had a label on the front to tell you high in sugar, high in salt, it would just have the things written and even graphically, because there are people who can't read. So, that is a good case for us ensuring that packaging is legible and understood by our consumers. But that's for another forum. What's the second question again?
The toothbrush, using it for 2 months and discarding it.
That's a very good thing. They say 3 months is okay. The other things that you kind of need to wash your toothbrush after you, because some people brush their teeth, spit, rinse, and just put on the dirty toothbrush. You have to wash it properly. And I agree with you, because bacteria does grow, and it can get into your gums and stuff. Mm-hmm. So thank you for bringing up that point. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, indeed. Let's go back to the telephone. Doctor and call, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Doc, I just want to ask you what you think about the energy drink.
The energy drink, okay?
Yeah, okay.
So I ban my patients from using energy drinks. I tell you what, they have high levels of sugar, because sugar will give you instant energy. They also have a lot of caffeine, and they have other stuff in there that can actually cause your heart to malfunctions. Caffeine, for one, which speeds you up because it's supposed to make you feel high. You know, they tell you that one MB makes you fly. It does, right? I've seen young athletes who have lost their lives as a result of using it as a stimulant. Some of us just don't have the capacity to manage the speed that it puts us on. Heart racing, you know, so we have to be very careful. I would advise people not to drink energy drink, especially when anything like Wicked and all kind of crap. I tell my patients not to drink energy drink. I think it's unfair to encourage people. The other thing is that a lot of young people take energy drink as a chaser for alcohol.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yep. Okay, 435-2041. That's the number you can call if you have any questions. You can do so. Tonight we focused a bit on good personal hygiene, which is very, very important. And of course, Doc spoke quite a bit about it. And of course, we also made a reference to Dr. Novi, who shared some great information with us on that as well. I mean, personal hygiene is extremely important. And one of the downsides of poor personal hygiene is discrimination, and no one wants to be discriminated against. Let's go back to the telephone. Doctor and call, good evening. Hello?
Hi, good evening.
Yes, good evening, caller.
Hello?
Yes, good evening, go ahead, we're hearing you. Caller, we're hearing you. Go ahead.
We have lost our connection.
Yeah, well, apparently.
I wanted to speak to one thing quickly, and that was the issue of safety.
Right.
Personal safety. Recognizing when an environment is not safe for you to be. Okay? Just generally. You know, people hear a bang and everybody run towards it. Explain to me why people do that. Okay? But within your house. Can't understand. Nobody run away from the gunshot.
You know, well, it is. I don't know if it's in our genetic makeup, but you've heard stories that the only time Grenadians run is if it's raining. Other than that, so they run away from rain, but they run to danger.
The danger.
Yeah. Well.
So curiosity killed the cat. Remember that, okay? When we have to be aware of our environment all the time. So, safety in your home. Are your windows safe? Can they be closed? You know, is your zinc roof properly fixed? Do you have mesh in your window so that mosquitoes don't come in?
Right.
Is your toilet functioning properly so it doesn't flow over? If you have an outdoor facility, is it clean, right? Is it safe so it have a proper seat so your child can drop in there, right? Is it accessible, or you have mud to walk to the toilet? Or you're going to put down some stones or something to keep you from being in right? Is there bush coming to you so you and serpent can live together? And snake and all kind of stuff? Is the water that you're getting into your house clean and healthy? We kind of spoke to that. I'm just talking about general safety.
Mm-hmm.
Can your door lock? Are your children safe? Are your children at risk for being sexually molested and physically harmed? Those are things you have to consider. Who do you let into your house when your children are there? Who's your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your mother or your wife or your sister, right? Who's seeing to you that your grandmother doesn't fall off the bed?
That's
Who's
right.
making sure that she's healthy? If your child is sick, can he reach his medication and take it himself? If you have medications, do your children have access to that? If you have kerosene and bleach and those things that children in Coca-Cola bottle and Fanta bottle and, you know, beer bottle and rum bottle and stuff that we see, right? Is it far from your little children? Because we drink straight out of bottles. Are we drinking out of bottles? Are we pouring out our drink into a glass? So our children learn by example that they only drink what is poured for them in a glass. Or they're going to go behind wherever little space you have in the house and take up the bottle that they know have the sweet drink that they like and open it and drink and die. Okay? Do you live in an environment where there's proper lighting?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is the bus man driving you too fast? Ask him to let you out, please. Okay? Are we taking care of our vehicles so that our tires are safe, our brakes are safe, you know, our vehicles are always in good working condition? Are we doing all of these things that ensure that we are safe? Okay? Are we allowing those of us who have licensed firearms, are we hanging it around the house so our children can pick up and shoot themselves and shoot us and shoot the cat and the dog and the sofa? Right? Are we taking care of those kinds of things? How is my personal safety? Can I walk home in the night after I come from SGU? Or I come from class? I mean, sun sets early these days. When I come from my lessons, right? Can I just walk home? Or does the bus drop me home? Or does my cousin come and meet me by the crossroad? You got me? Those things, your personal safety is very important. Are you involved in activities, or are you drawn into activities that can cause people to stab you? That can cause fighting on the street? You know, are you involved in gang affairs? Are your children involved in gang and affairs so that they can be things? Are your children being bullied? Right? Are you being bullied at work? Right? Because that's not good for you mentally and emotionally. Right? So, what level of personal safety are we? Are you drinking and driving? Are you smoking cannabis and driving? Cannabis slows down your reaction almost as much as alcohol. Are you smoking? Are you using other hard substances that hype you so you speed? Are you speeding with other people in your car? You might have a desire to die and want to speed. You know, what is it? Are you putting other people at risk on the road with your bad driving? Can you drive? Why are you behind a vehicle if you don't know the road code? Okay, why are you driving a public passenger vehicle if you do not know defensive driving? Okay? Those are some of the issues of safety that we have to take into consideration. This is a year when people have to introspect and say, am I doing it right? Am I safe? Those are simple things, but very, that are steeped
That's far-reaching effects, yes, it does.
Right? And responsibility that I for you and you for me. We're taking care of ourselves and we're brethren. We're taking care of ourselves and all the people we know in our community. Okay?
Yes, indeed.
Do I live close enough to the police that if something happened, do I have good communication with the police officers in my community? Right? If something happens, can I call the police? Okay? Am I putting myself at risk in an environment where I know is unsafe? And I'm not legitimizing people or they're doing bad things, right? But if I know that they attack women on the street, why am I going to walk there late in the night? Because sometimes the people who do that don't come from your community.
It's true.
The people who do those things come from elsewhere and are hiding often from the authorities, but they can't help but practice their bad behaviors. Would I tell the police if I saw a crime? Are police trustworthy? I would not expand on that.
That's another program. That's
not even for us.
That's another
but
program.
Seriously, can I feel free to tell the community policing, I think this is what is happening here? If my child is being molested and she tells me, would I ask the police to investigate? Because I want my daughter's mental health hygiene to be, and my boy child might be harassed, might be sexually molested. It doesn't matter by whom. Will I go to special victims unit and make a complaint and insist that they come and investigate, even the child making up the story? It is important that that is done so that our children feel safe and that their mental health is maintained and their sense of self is preserved. That's very important.
Yes.
Are our old people being beaten and battered? Are they safe in their homes? Are they safe in their nursing homes? If I work in a nursing home, am I giving good care? Or am I just here to catch the money and while Miss Mary sit down and pee? So there's a lot of things we can do that are basic, that keeps our sense of dignity and keeps us well at the same time. But it's an individual responsibility to introspect, to look into yourself and see, what is it?
Right. Wonderful. Doc, thank you very much. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. And it was so, I really enjoyed, chatting about all of these issues. And, before we close, I just want to go back briefly and just, rehash what Dr. Novi said. Personal hygiene, healthy habits include good grooming. If you want to minimize your risk of infection and also enhance your overall health, follow these basic personal hygiene habits. They are: bathe regularly, trim your nails, brush and floss, and we're talking here about your teeth. Wash your hands, and we know how important that is. We are just getting over COVID-19. Slip tight. And there is one that I'm going to add. It's from a different source, but it's important to relax. Be part of a good community and learn to relax. Learn to spend a little time with yourself. Maybe look at a nice TV show that can help you develop. That is important. We thank you all very much for staying with us this evening. Of course, we'll be back next Tuesday for another Doctor and Call. And I just want to remind you folks, tomorrow evening, there'll be no Release It program. In fact, Release It has run its course. There will not be any more Release It programs. Come February 1st, we start a new program, The Climate Change Reality, which will be aired on all our platforms. GBN Television, K105, our Facebook and YouTube channel. So look out for that. It's coming from the 1st of February. And of course, we'll be hosted by myself. We will have lots of experts coming on to share with us information about climate change, what it is, how we as a people contribute to climate change, and how what we need to do to stop it, how it affects every aspect of our lives, plants, animals, you name it. So you can look forward to that. It's our newest initiative, the Climate Change Reality. On Thursday evening, the new program, Let's Talk. We talk about everything, of course, in a structured way, constructive conversation that's geared at helping to empower people, not the yapping and the rarring because you have easy access to the airwaves, and of course not disrespecting anyone, but we will endeavor to have lots of guests, people coming in to help us, to develop our minds and to have conversation that means something, meaningful conversation that can help us. So look forward to that. Of course, We Culture will be back on Friday, the People's Program. We're looking forward to that. So thank you all very much. Doc, any final word in closing as we wrap for this evening?
Take charge.
Yes.
This is your time. What you don't remember, ask. But remember, I asked you in the beginning, everybody, practice at least one thing that you learn every time we talk. Or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. You might have a lot of things that you need to change. This is Change Behavior Year. There's a lot we're going to talk about. Yes, we're going to talk about disease, but we're going to talk about how you're going to empower yourselves to be better citizens, to be well. I know one of the things that is looked at is the improvement of the primary care health system. Start making up your mind about going to see a private doctor or you're going to your health center. We need to do that. We need to start staying well. Apart from the general health, we need to start staying well, especially physically. We need to start preventing disease. And this is our year of drinking water and eating fruits. I see mango tree almost done flower. Climate change will kill us. We're not going to have any mangoes in the summer. But if you have excess of mangoes, peel them and put them in your deep freeze. If you have a deep freezer, open a freezer, get a little box. So you could every so often make a little mango smoothie. Take charge.
Yes.
Take charge and share the knowledge. Talk about the good things. Talk about how we can do better. Talk how we can help somebody who's in thing. Help people to live in a safer environment. Help people to live healthier. Plant like a food around your yard. If you have the size for a car to park, you can plant enough food for you and your family in the house to eat. We've been asked to do that. People in the Ministry of Agriculture will help you if you have any challenges for information, to come and visit and tell you what can go there, what wouldn't grow there, and help you to have access to seedlings and stuff to plant. And plant a tree, okay? Let's build back the environment.
Indeed.
Please.
So
one of the things I'd like to see us do, every time we buy a car, if I buy a car today, I should plant a tree. Because the emissions that come from our car, since we have so much secondhand car, there's a lot of emissions. That's the thing that it lets out, that damages our environment. So I think we should all of us who buy a car in the last year, plant one little tree. Plant a campus tree, plant a nutmeg tree, a mahogany tree, whatever tree. We have a lot of indigenous trees that we can plant. God bless everybody, and thank you for listening to us tonight.
Yes, indeed. And as I believe, I just got a media release from CAFA, which is the Caribbean Public Health Agency. And it's interesting because, Doc, you mentioned it earlier, and it says the Caribbean Public Health Agency is reminding the public that arboviral diseases such as dengue, chikungunya, and Zika are still circulating in the Caribbean region. In light of this, CAFA emphasizes the importance of prevention and control measures to reduce the transmission of these viruses. That's just the opening of the media release that I thought, just want to share with you. It came up.
So if I can talk about things like that next week, I don't know. Let's figure out what is most. Let's see how things are going, and because that's a good segue. Yeah?
Definitely. So thank you, everyone. Do have a good night. Yes, and we'll be back, of course, with you tomorrow on the network. Until then, be safe. Thank you very much.
Drug abuse, cancer,
measles, diabetes, AIDS, cancer.
Drug abuse.